Hello, welcome back to the Spirit of Watercolor, and we're going to go to part 2 of our watercolor pencils with roses. This was the one that I started, and then as you recall I flipped over and we were doing this one together. And we're going to finish these off and add a little more watercolor pencil to them and blend out and detail in. I'm quite pleased with how these are coming out. I hope you are enjoying trying the watercolor pencils. What I was doing in part 1 is taking the watercolor pencils and using them to draw. And I was looking at roses for the example. So check that video out, and I take us through actually drawing on this one where we started by doing the drawing with the pink pencil and some green up here because there's white up at the top. And then we did the background green wash, a light wash around the watercolor. And then we go from there and we start putting in the pink petals, you know, wet into wet, one petal at a time, and adding some masking fluid here to create some of the dewdrops that are on, or the raindrops on the watercolor rose. And I wanted to take this to finish. I also was showing you my prior example, which I'm also working on, and you know, so you can just see another rose and the same technique going on here. Backwash around and pencil in, and then bringing this, and the whole goal here was to eliminate the pencil lines, okay, the black pencil lines. And I really love this way of using watercolor pencils. And then also, you know, watercolor pencil, you can bring it in detail, which we may or may not need to do in our roses here. I'm kind of leaving that for the end of the painting to decide how much detail line I want to put in. I tend to like flowing, looser style watercolors is my style. But if you want more detail, you can do that, and we'll see. Maybe I can get some of the leaves in the background or some of the branches and that kind of thing, just so we can kind of see what those watercolor pencils do, but I will still probably soften them. So I hope you'll stay tuned for this video. And I just wanted to mention that, you know, I'm using this calendar, but it's a calendar for 65 roses for cystic fibrosis, and there were no names of photographers attached to this calendar, so they're just photographs that they're using to encourage people to donate to cystic fibrosis. So I wanted to mention that because, you know, I like to give credit to whoever, you know, if I'm using somebody's examples or their books, or being inspired by someone or something, an artist of some, you know, you don't want to just assume, so I like to give credit. Okay, so forgive my heater because it's chilly in the basement and there's also noise outside, so we'll do that as white noise. And we're finishing our painting here of the rose, and we'll see again, reminding us that we're going to hide these lines that are watercolor pencil lines just by, you know, painting into them and wetting the petals like so, okay? But also around the edges here, you know, there's some edge to the watercolor pencil. Hopefully that will blend in as well in a way, so we won't see any lines, or hardly any. And if we do, they're the color of the flower or the leaves here. Okay, so again, our photo from Cystic Fibrosis calendar. I'm thinking about donating to that because there's that and other things, of course, that I'm donating to, and one only has so much money to donate, and then we have to save some. So, but it is good to help out causes, and I think this is a lovely way of supporting these kinds of, you know, situations people are dealing with. So I'm just going to paint, and you know, I'll make decisions as we go along, but we're basically just doing our lovely rose painting here. I need to remember that if I'm coming in here and around these flowers here, we don't want to have the green paint here. I don't want things to run into each other, basically. So I'm either going on the outside or the inside of the flower. So you have to remember where we wet things. And I did put on my palette some beautiful Quinacridone rose again. And I think I had some Opera Rose. That's a Sennilier paint. That I believe is the Opera Rose, and this is the Quin. They look a little different, but I think they look the same color once you apply them. Both beautiful, and they'll complement each other even if they're a little different. And then I'm just coming in with some of these greens around the background because I didn't get quite enough color back here and around, so let's do that. Here we want to vary the value of the green from light greens to the dark greens, creates perspective in the background, and keeping some light to white areas back there as well. I think we'll just work all the way around here if we can, and just get some of these beautiful washes of color going here. And best to wet with the larger brush, you see. Okay, let's get in there. Here I have the green pencil, I believe, up here because it gets whiter here. So I did do that right. And then it gets a lot more white around in here, lighter. So I'm going to go with the lighter sap again. Sometimes I like a minimal palette. It can get too... mix them up together sometimes a little. Ooh, wow, that's pretty. I think that's some of the yellow green. Ooh, I want some of that in there. It's the green gold got in my palette, which is one of my other favorite greens. I use kind of the same greens most of the time and mix them with other colors, but it's usually green gold, sap green, and oh, that's pretty. Gotta have a little of that over here. Over here, a little over here. There. Again, I struggle to get close enough, so we'll do the best we can with that there. And I have to get my magnifier out. Just kind of outlining the... Oh, that's really pretty. Oh, that green gold is amazing too. Put some over here just to balance things out. I'm going to have the green gold in and out. It's a much warmer, yellower green, right? Wow. Oh, that's stunning. I hope that this doesn't fade too much. I may have gotten some green in my flower, and I'm hoping I can lift that up. I don't know quite how I did that. Maybe it just bled in. Yeah, I think it just bled in. But that's okay. You can always fix these things if we get them early enough. Yep. Oops. That is pretty much more now than it was. A little more of that deep. Need a little deeper here, I think. And ooh, not that deep. Blend in. Ooh, that's so pretty. Letting those paints flow is one of my favorite things. I just decided to go all out in the green here and get this in, and then we'll go into the flower after this dries. Okay. Here we're adding some purple into the pink, my Carbozle violet, to create shadows within the petals, down in, from one petal to the other. I was lifting here some of the color because I wanted it to come back more white at the top of the petal. We can also add pencil, more watercolor pencil, and then wet it, and it just gives a more defined line around the edge of the petals, and then blend it into the, into paint here, and it's just a little more detailed that way.